promised to let you see my Wee Peggy, my spinning wheel, give you a little introduction to it. This is a castle wheel, which means that the flyer assembly and all of the spinning apparatus is located directly above the drive wheel. And that makes it a very small, compact sort of wheel. This is a wheel made by the Ashford company. It was originally designed by John Rippard in the middle of the 20th century, and he made the Little Peggy and the Wee Peggy and a couple of other wheels up until the late 90s, and then the brand was bought by the Ashford company. And I bought this particular wheel because I wanted a small castle wheel, and I wanted a wheel by the Ashford company. The first wheel that I ever bought in 1972 was an Ashford, and I'm very fond of them. This particular wheel came from England. I had to order it from a spinning and weaving supply place in England because they don't sell them in the United States. It's a fine little wheel, and I have really enjoyed using it. I'll introduce you to the parts of it, and then I'll show you how it works. Starting at the bottom, there's the treadle, and my foot goes on the treadle to make the wheel go around. It has 3 legs that it sits on. This flat piece here is called the table, and that holds it all together. Right here is a little hook, which is used to draw the yarn through the orifice, and it's just a convenient place to stash that. And right here I have 3 bobbins stashed that are all full right now and ready to be skeined off and used. I have little tags on them to mark which particular fleece each bobbin came from, and if it was a mixture or just a single fleece. These are the upright posts here. This is called the mother of all, this piece that goes across horizontally here. And this little upright here and this tall upright here at the back, those are called the maidens. In most wheels, and most Castle and Saxony wheels, the 2 maidens are the same height. They're both tall. One of the unique things about the Wee Peggy is that the front maiden is only half size, and this flyer assembly here, this is the flyer assembly, is resting in a small U-shaped holder instead of being going through a hole in a maiden and out the front side. All of these things are adjustable. The knob here loosens this piece so that the front maiden can be adjusted up and down, and this knob here adjusts by a screw this shaft here, and it lowers and raises the back side of the flyer. The flyer has a shaft that goes all the way through and fastens onto the whorl here, and on that shaft is a free-moving bobbin, just like these 3 bobbins down here. This one I have almost full now. It's almost ready to take the yarn off of it. But I thought I'd spin just a little today and show you how it works. The way that it works is it's got, if you look at the back here, the footman, this is the footman, and it's attached to the treadle on one end on the bottom and attached to the crankshaft on the top. And the footman is what translates the up and down motion of the treadle into the round and round motion of the drive wheel. And the reason that the yarn winds up on the bobbin, on this particular wheel, it's a single drive band with what's called a Scotch tension adjustment or assembly. It's got a single drive band, goes over the whorl on the bobbin or on the flyer, and then there's a whorl on the bobbin also with a groove in it. Right, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but there's a knob here that turns, and there's a little piece of monofilament that goes across the mother of all, up and over the whorl on the bobbin, and fastens to a little spring right back here that gives it just a little bit of tension. I can adjust, by turning this knob, I can adjust how much tension there is on that little piece of monofilament. And what that does is it acts as a small brake on the bobbin so that the wheel is turning at one speed. If I let go, the brake on the bobbin will slow the bobbin down a little bit, and the flyer will wrap the yarn around the bobbin. If I hold back on the yarn, the bobbin and the flyer both move as a unit, and that's when I'm spinning. So that's what you saw in the other video, where I was alternately pulling the yarn out and then letting it wind up. I have a roll lag here, so I'll show you how it works. The hardest thing really when you're learning to spin, aside from the fact that because you're doing something totally different with your foot than you're doing with your hands, it's kind of like patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time. The hardest thing is to keep the wheel moving at an even pace in the same direction all the time, because it really has a tendency to go every which way when you're just starting to learn. So I'll get it going. And then when I let go, the brake on the bobbin slows it down a little bit, and it winds up. I can either do a continuous feed, where I continually pull the yarn out and let it wind up, or I can pull the yarn out to a full length and wind it up all at once. Doesn't matter which. I usually do a combination of the two. Sometimes I'll pull out with my front hand with my right hand. Sometimes I'll do the pulling back with my left hand, just to mix it up and give my hands a break from doing the same thing all the time. I'm almost done with making all of the yarn for the weft and the tapestry. This may be my last bobbin. I'm not sure. I'll have to take a look at it when I get it set up. That means it's time to bring the loom from the storage area and get it set up, and I'm really looking forward to that. Right here on the adjustment knob for the Scotch tension, I have a little wrap of yarn. I think I showed you that in the last video, that's my size gauge, and so as I'm spinning, I'm watching that size gauge and trying to continue to make the yarn exactly that size, so that I've got a uniform weft for the entire tapestry. When this particular section fills up on the bobbin, I'll move it to the next section. I work my way back and forth over the bobbin, gradually filling it up from front to back and back to front again until the whole thing is full. Anyway, that fills in maybe some of the gaps for you. You get to meet the Wee Peggy and see how it works. There you go.